Hello and welcome, everyone. This is day 3 of the 2024-25 NFL season predictions. Today we are going through the AFC South. We're going to start off here real quickly with the worst team, number 4 in the division. That will be the Tennessee Titans. They have a 4-game losing streak to start the year against the Bears, the Jets, the Packers, the Dolphins. 4 pretty good teams. In their bye week, in week 5, they're going to try and get something going, and they kind of have a couple back and forth weeks. So they'll lose to the Colts, beat the Bills, lose to the Lions, beat the Patriots, lose to the Chargers, beat the Vikings. I think there are a lot of winnable games. I think they could probably beat the Chargers. They could probably beat the Colts up there too. The Lions and the Bills, that'll be some tough games, and they might even lose to teams like the Vikings. I think their season and their team is going to be a mystery. It's all going to really depend on Will Levis and how he plays. After that stretch of games, I have them going on a 4-game losing streak to the Texans, the Commanders, the Jaguars, and the Bengals. They have 3 games left with the Colts, the Jaguars, and the Texans, all divisional games. You know how crazy they can get. They're going to pick up their first and only divisional win of the year against the Colts in Week 16 and lose the next 2 weeks to the Jaguars and Texans. Like I said earlier, this is all really going to be depending on how Will Levis plays. You know, they signed Calvin Ridley. They have Tony Pollard now. They've got a little bit of a revamped offense, but if he can't throw the ball, if Will Levis can't do anything, it's not going to be good. And I'm kind of banking on them being a little meh. So, I guess we'll find out. I have them going 4-13 and 1-5 in their division. They are surprisingly only the 13th ranked team in the conference. So there are 3 teams below them with a better draft position. Now for a third team in the division, we have the Indianapolis Colts. Anthony Richardson's coming back. Who knows how he played? He had a couple games last year where he played. You saw a little bit of what he can show with his raw athleticism and stuff. And they've got a decent team coming back. But again, this is kind of like the Titans situation where you don't know exactly what you're going to get out of Anthony Richardson. So let's get into the games here. I have them going with a loss week 1 to the Texans, but coming back and they're going to upset Green Bay. It might be an upset, it might not. That's kind of right in that line almost. But then they're going to go on a 3-game lose streak to the Bears, the Steelers, and the Jaguars. 3 games that I think they could win. A lot of these games I think are winnable, and you'll see they come out on the wrong side of a lot of them. But then they beat the Titans, they get that division win. Lose to the Dolphins. They go on a little losing streak here with the Dolphins, then the Texans again, and the Vikings. So they'll lose 2 to the Texans. That brings us in to Week 10 against the Bills, where I think they will, you could call this an upset the Bills. They will then lose 2 in a row to the Jets and Lions before winning against the Patriots to go into their bye at Week 14 of a late bye week. They're going to really need to use that time to rest and relax. They don't have the toughest schedule coming out of the bye. 4 pretty winnable games. They got the Broncos, the Titans, the Giants, and the Jaguars. And unfortunately, they're going to lose those first 3 and only beat the Jaguars in Week 18. Like I said before, I have them going 5-12. They're 12th in the conference, 2-4 in the division. I think they can be a lot better than this. I think they've got a decent team around them. I just think they're going to come out on the wrong side of a lot of these close games, and maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't know if they can really. And to be honest, they might give the Jaguars a run for their money here in second place, as I just gave it away, second place in the division. I'm going to have the Jaguars here. They're kind of a little flip-floppy too with how the games go. No, not really much of a streak team except for late here, but we'll get into these games. First up with the Dolphins, I have them losing, but they're beating the Browns. Then they go 2 tough games back-to-back. Bills and Texans, they're going to lose both of them before beating the Colts. Now that brings us into 2-3 to start the season, going into Week 6 against the Bears. They're going to beat the Bears, and then they're going to lose to the Patriots, which you would consider an upset, I'm sure. Then they have them beating the Packers, losing to the Eagles, beating the Vikings, losing to the Lions, going into a Week 12 bye. That gives them 5 wins and 6 losses. 5-6 going into the bye. I think this can be a playoff team. Now, obviously, you got some questions at that wide receiver position and some other positions across the board. They didn't make the playoffs last year. They're going to be close again. They need to stretch here. I think they beat the Texans coming off the bye. I think they beat the Titans, and I think they beat the Jets. Now, I think their momentum kind of dies, and I think they lose to the Raiders, but then they come back. They beat the Titans before losing to the Colts that last week, which could ultimately make or break their playoffs. Because I think the Colts are going to try and play spoiler. And like I said, I think they've got a good team, so I think they definitely could beat the Jaguars. I have the Jaguars missing the playoffs by a couple spots, actually. They only go 9-8. They go 9-8, 4-2 in their division, so not bad by any means, but they rank 10th in the conference. So a little bit of a top-heavy AFC, as you might see, which obviously you know by now, number 1 in the division will be the Houston Texans. They're going to win their first 2 games of the season against the Colts and the Bears, lose to the Vikings in an upset, but then beat the Jaguars in Week 4. They're going to lose to the Bills, but then go on a little streak here from Week 6 to 9 against the Patriots, Packers, Colts, and Jets. They'll lose here to the Lions before coming back and beating the Cowboys in a Battle of Texas. They've got 2 divisional games right before bye against the Titans and Jaguars. I think they'll go 1-1 in that stretch. They'll beat the Titans, lose to the Jaguars, bringing them into a Week 14. Another late bye week here. They'll have 9 wins and 4 losses. 4 losses. They'll be 9-4 going into their bye week, which might have already secured them. As you can see, by that time, the divisions are a little weak, and I think they only have the Jaguars to compete with. And this is before they go on their little streak, I predict. I think the Texans have a good team, and it's really based on their QB play. If I'm being honest, he can make plays happen. You don't even need the best receivers. He can throw it in those windows that might be a little tighter than a great receiver gets you. I think they come out of their bye with 2 wins here, back-to-back against the Dolphins and Chiefs, before losing to the Ravens and beating the Titans to end off. That 3 weeks after their bye is going to be tough. You got the Dolphins, the Chiefs, and the Ravens. I have him 2-1. I wouldn't be shocked to see him go 0-3. I wouldn't be shocked to see him go 3-0. I think those are going to be 3 very must-see, games. At the end, when it's all said and done, I think they go 12-5, obviously win the division with a 5-1 divisional record, and they're going to be the 3rd seed in the AFC. So that will, round out our AFC South. Catch us tomorrow for our NFC South predictions. Thanks for listening. We'll talk later. Peace.